Before? Yeah.
Welcome, the Queen, Suzette Vidal. Ah, look at the red, black, and green. Look at the red, black, and green. Yes, sir.
And you saw my queen?
Yes, I did.
Good. He wants to say hello there, man. She's coming. She's coming.
I'm very shy. Hi, greetings.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for all your help.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Amen. All
Have
right.
a great day.
Thank you.
So I got my flag and I'm ready to.
Yeah, there's a flag there. Woo. Woo-wee.
So who's kicking us off?
Oh, you gotta take yourself off mute.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, hear you fine.
All right. That's what's up. Peace and blessings.
Can you hear the drum? Can you hear the drum in the background?
Not yet.
You can't hear the drums?
Yes,
Very slowly, yeah.
Yeah, it's faint.
Mm-hmm.
But now?
Maybe it's just me. I'm not hearing the drums yet.
It's very low, man. It's low.
Wow, I got the drums all the way on.
Before?
Let me see.
Yeah. He's waiting for
I got the drums all the way live right now. Let's see. I don't know why it's playing off my computer. Maybe that's the problem. But I was hoping anything is playing in my background, I would assume that you would have heard it. This is what I was playing here. You hear it now? You hear the drums now?
I'm not hearing it.
I can hear him a little bit when you first asked it.
Now?
No,
Nobody
man.
else is on.
No, really?
No, not here.
Wow. It's definitely drums in the background, y'all. Definitely drumming in the background. What a wonderful way to wake up in the morning to drums and to be in the village and to have an appointed time such as this. I'm truly grateful for all of you who have made time to be present here on this day of Afya. Ashe, Sister Simone. Grace first. Welcome. You're on mute. So everyone, you come in on mute, so you'll have to independently find your voice. Okay, let your voice emancipate your voice.
Race first.
There you are. Your voice is now emancipated. Ashe. So we have people coming in. This is amazing. Never, you know what? I definitely expected to see you all, but to see you all is beyond my expectations. It really is.
Glad to be a part.
You know, as we begin this course of this year, we are obviously very motivated by what the last 7 days consisted of as we commemorated Kwanzaa and as the world commemorated Kwanzaa around us. And we all found different ways to express our Pan-Africanism and our commitment to Sankofa, to reclaim, to go back and fetch our ancient traditions and languages and habits. And one of those very important things is gathering, right? And I think that's an essential form of us expressing our emancipation, and also, you know, building our community. Right now, what you're looking at is an international collection of Pan-Africanists around the world. It's really amazing, like I said, to see you all. We have the U.S. and Canada, and of course, Mother Africa in the building. So this is the new normal. Welcome to the new normal. And as we commemorated the last 7 days dedicated to these Kwanzaa principles, and as I was preparing for this incredible day today, day of health, this day of Afya, I realized that every gathering and meeting that we have, we should always recap these Kwanzaa principles because it grounds us, you know. And what I realized last night is that Afya is a path. So what we've done is we've just established what our principles are. These are the rules. Now what are the paths that we're going to apply those rules and those principles? You know, and so health is just one path. Health is just one path. There's financial literacy, there's emotional literacy, there's spiritual paths, there's all these different paths that we have to take. But if we apply these 7 principles to each of these paths that we walk upon collectively, we will find greater success. So I'm excited about that because we are creating new normals, and we are shifting the conversation towards things of true relevance, and health being optimal. You know, without health, what do we have, right? And so there is so much suppression in our community when it comes to getting diagnosed, treating ourselves, speaking to others about their bad habits, or speaking to others about, their lack of self-determination when it comes to getting diagnosed and getting treatments and things like that. So we have to take responsibility for not just ourselves and for others. And so that's why we're here today. We are here today to not only position ourselves for the healthiest us possible, but we also want to be able to reach out to those around us and to be able to speak with education and to inform them of resources. So we have an incredible day of experts and people whose experiences made them experts. You know, I was very careful with using the word expert because, experiences, the world's definition of an expert probably means you have to have, degrees and all these other things. But, experience also makes us wise, makes us knowledgeable. And, that is, we have to put value on that experience, on those resources, on people in our community who are those resources. So what an incredible lineup we have today. I mean, just no joke. And it's a full day. So I hope y'all ready to do a little boxing at the crib. We're going to be doing some boxing warm-ups with Fitz the Whip. We're going to be doing some yoga, right? So we're going to be doing some meditation. So we are, like I said, we're going to get it in today, and we're going to make sure that, the whole 360 of who we are is addressed and supported. So I'm excited about that. So what we're going to do is we are going to officially begin this day of Afya, which means in Swahili health, this path that we are on, like I said, to not only take care of our own selves, but to be able to take care of those around us. The way we are going to begin is a new norm is a land acknowledgement. We're also going to do an ancestral welcome that is going to be conducted by our chief and our coach, Brother Kofi Morris. And then we're going to do a small recap of what Kwanzaa, of these principles. We're going to talk with members of the UNIA-ACL, who's represented here on the call by Brother Small. I don't want to call you Brother Small. Brother Dean in the building, Sister Simone, and our good elder, Brother Weeks from Montreal, the Montreal division, which we as a Toronto division certainly look up to and completely appreciate his presence and his guidance through our journey as we find ourselves reclaiming the rich rich history and the dominant position that the Toronto UNIA has functioned in the past when it was founded by the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey years ago. Greetings. I'd like to welcome you, Kendra. Hello. We were just talking. Oh, you are on mute, so you're going to have to emancipate your voice whenever you need to. So we're just giving people a little bit of a brief introduction on how things are going to go. I am going to take us through a land acknowledgement before I turn it over to our chief coach, Kofi Morris. And personally, I've sat through many events like this, and this is more prominent in Canada. I'm seeing in America becoming a little bit more than something that is incorporated in events. But in Canada, there is an acknowledgement. There's a land acknowledgement that pays tribute to those who've walked this land for centuries before we showed up. Those of indigenous and Aboriginal roots, and I'm for it, of course. But I also, me being a man of God, I also need to pay homage to the creator of that land, like to honor the land and the people on the land, and then not recognize who brought us here, who gave us this land. Seems to be a little bit remissive. So I've been working with that on how I conduct my events, because when you conduct your event, it's your responsibility to function the way that is your truth. They say walk in your truth, and it's such an important deal that we don't want to. We never do it out of just repetition. We never do it just out of because it's popular and it's politically correct. We do things out of spirit. We do things out of love. So I spoke to Brother Kofi earlier. Early, when I say early, I'm talking like 2 a.m. And I was telling him that I'm still meditating on the land acknowledgement, and it should be something that I just read off a screen and be over with. But it's so important to me that I meditate on it, I pray on it, and this is where I am today with it. So forgive me if anything is omitted. Forgive me if it's not what you're used to, and work with me as I work with you all. So I'm going to acknowledge this land acknowledgement first by giving thanks to the creator of this land. Thanks for giving us dominion and acknowledging that our faults and where we have fallen short of the responsibility of being true managers and true operators on this space. As I look through the red, black, and the green, I acknowledge the blood that has been shed on this land, the injustice that has been shed on this land, that's been shown on this land, the lack of love that has been shown on this land. We acknowledge the Aboriginal and Native people of land all over this globe that has been pushed from their homes, and then ideologies pushed upon them to force them to operate outside of their culture. As I look to the black, I acknowledge the land of, I acknowledge people of color who have suffered great injustice on this land. I acknowledge my ancestors who have struggled for us to be here today. As we acknowledge the green, we recognize that Africa is our home. We acknowledge that Africa is the birthplace of mankind. We acknowledge that Africa is home of abundant resources that we look towards being able to help be involved in the management of it, Lord. So and wherever there's injustice across this land, we ask for peace to reign on this land. We ask for justice to reign on this land and for unity to reign on this land. All right, I'm now going to pass it over to Chief Kofi, Brother Kofi Morris, who's going to do an ancestor acknowledgement for us. Brother Kofi.
Greetings, peace, love. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, but do it.
Peace and blessings.
And I just want to ask, continuing this great great tradition. I would like to ask permission from one of the elders to speak. So I'm going to defer to Brother George. Is that fitting, Brother Dewitt? Brother George, one of us?
Yes, we have the elder here. That is Brother Meeks.
Okay,
Weeks.
Brother Weeks, I'm gonna ask your permission if I speak, and if you feel free to come off mute and let me know if I have your permission.
Permission granted.
Thank you. Family, so one of the things that comes to mind as we speak about elders and we speak about ancestors and recognizing that prior to becoming ancestors, we're elders. There's a succession of life, and there's a succession of rites of passage that we all go through in this lifetime. And prior to transitioning to becoming ancestors, we walk this path of eldership, and a part of why we acknowledge our elders is because they have serviced and they have been servitude longer than us. They've put in the work of love our people, committing time and energy to their family and community prior to their transition. But prior to the transition, living lives of elders, which can be a very humbling experience. Because when you become an elder, you recognize there's a lot of things that you may know. But now you have to observe other people that are younger than you, go through experiences, and love them in the process and respect their process. So there's so many different attributes and aspects of ancestorship before we even get there. The path of elders. So I want to take that moment to just acknowledge the work and the life of our elders as well. This is participatory, so I'm going to ask for your indulgence. As I pour this water into the plant, and this water is representing nourishment, right? We want to give thanks to those who want to give thanks to the land as we eat. We couldn't have shelter. We couldn't have water to drink and to cleanse ourselves and our food and cook our food without the land. So again, the importance of acknowledging the land, the connection to the land, recognizing the Creator and the role that the Creator plays into our lives and everything in between. So take time to this drink, take this clean water and pour it into this plant. I'm going to ask before I do that, if you can put out there what it is something you'd like to receive from today's event. I'm going to ask if there's a thing in one word you would like to receive from today's event. I just want you to put it out there. As you put it out there, I will pour it into this plant. And before I do that, I'm actually going to call upon you for a call and response. So I'm going to say Ago, and Ago in Tree, West African, means I need your attention to have something to say. And Ame means you have my attention. So let's try this out. Ago.
Amen.
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 Ago.
Amen.
Amen.
If you can just put out the one word you'd like to get, something you'd like to receive from today's gathering, and just say it out loud.
Knowledge.
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 Ashe. Ashe. Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Guidance.
Ashe.
I don't want to take all the good ones, y'all. Come on. All right.
Wisdom.
Keep it coming, fam.
Love, man. We come for love.
Ashe.
Let's do it.
Wisdom.
Ashe.
Mm.
Well, I think I will get a greater response now when I'm asking, what is it that you want to give?
Mm.
What is it that you want to give to today's event? What do you want to provide to today's event? Whether you're a facilitator or a speaker or not, what is it that you'd like to give space, to give to the folks on this virtual connection? What is it you want to give?
Truth.
Understanding.
That's it.
Love.
That's it. Our family, we need more than that. Our community needs more
Clarity.
than that. Let's go.
Ashe, come on. I don't want to take them on.
Ashe, joy, ashe.
Empowerment.
Ashe,
Fellowship.
ashe.
Wealth.
Connection.
Wealth.
Ashe.
Connection. Okay.
Equality.
Heritage.
Ashe.
There it is. There it is. That's our Nia.
Say that.
Next steps.
It's still so say that.
This is Simone. What was that?
Next steps.
Oh, next steps. Okay, I like it. I like it.
So I add peace, prosperity, connection, humility, reciprocity, balance, laughter, joy, and light. And as we ask our ancestors to open up the way we may open up our hearts to give these aspects. But you know what? We also open up our hearts to receive. Because it's a balance. Because that's what reciprocity represents, right? Our ability to give, but also our ability to receive. And the divine principle, Ma'at says that we give without asking anything in return. So there's another higher aspect of that giving aspect, right? So I want to put it out there. We may ask our ancestors for the help in this regard, and for the help to have a successful event, and for the help to the technological aspect smoothly, and everything comes together in a divine fashion, the way that we will it. So as we ask the ancestors for this, I want to just call upon names, and any names of those who passed on, who are no longer with us, who represented these ideas and these values, and they lived those principles. I'd like for you to call their names. So as you call their names, we're going to say Ashe. Ashe, essentially, so is we're giving power, which is being said. So if you can say those names now, I will pour as we say those names.
Desmond Tutu.
Ashe.
George A. Arthur.
Tracy Acadia Thomas.
Akua Walcott. The Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey.
Ashe. Bookman. Ashe. To Sandra.
And all those in IT that led that revolution that we commemorate. Yes, every single life that was shed.
Bell hooks.
Family, Ashe.
Nelson Mandela.
Ashe. Empress Mene.
George Floyd.
Ashe. Nani of the Maroons. Ashe. Tubman. Ashe.
Ashe.
Afya.
Charles Rose.
Ashe. Brother Dudley Love. Ashe.
Brother Dudley Love.
Ashe.
Whitley Jr.
Ashe. Susanna Morris. Ashe. Daddy Bucky. Ashe. Ashe. All those in our hearts and our minds, call upon your energy. We ask that you open the way for us to be successful, knowing that the role of our ancestors and what our ancestors played here on the earth plane is to open up the way for those things that we're seeking here as living beings here, as they have transitioned. But just like if it was here today, you needed Granny's help. Now that Granny has passed on, she still wants to help you. Does that make sense, family? Those who are no longer with us, they still want to help us, and their role is to support and to help us. So we call upon their energy, we say Ashe. And all these things we say Madasi, which means thank you. Madasi. Madasi Pai. We say yo. We clap, 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 clap. Muni Kasa. Muni Kasa. Muni Kasa. It's finished and it is good.
And it is good. And it is good. Well, that is such a special part of who we are as a people, and it is always something that is very emotional. And I know there's something about, as we welcome in our ancestors, there's also a part where we release them from our presence as well, Brother Kofi. Is that something that you've practiced or experienced?
So I've experienced at the end of events, there was a particular elder that used to do so. He would say that we have to release them. And I've also heard and understood that our ancestors are of the consciousness that they went to leave. So I've heard, to be honest with you, right? So I personally don't, but I'm completely fine with those that do, right? Just in terms of my personal experience.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I like to subscribe to your take on it. That they know, they know, they know, and that they're welcome to be present, as long as they like to be present. I assume, but it is a very special act of reverence and acknowledging our ancestors, and it's something that we continue to practice, not just to empower ourselves, but to show the next generation on what it means to be able to exist in this space. And I thank you for giving brother Weeks here his respect and his due, and I thank you for requesting permission. And I realized that I even got ahead of myself and sort of missed that one. Sometimes when you think you're the organizer, you think you don't have to do it. So I do want to beg forgiveness for stepping forward without getting your endorsement, Elder Weeks. So if I may, in all humility, reach out to you and request permission to continue this event, sir.
Please continue, my brother.
I knew he was going to say it. That's why I was like, but it's good to do it. It's good to do it anyway. So nevertheless.
Yes. It's quite true.
But nevertheless, it's very important. So what we're doing now is we're going to just shift gears a bit, and we're going to cover Kwanzaa. And I'd like to just get a little check-in to find out, like, what was something special, about this Kwanzaa that made, that is memorable for you. And so the floor is open, and I just want to hear a little bit about something that maybe you do that's, unique to your lifestyle, to your household, to your tribe, and something that we can all share here together. If I can, and since we have the elder speaking, and just granting us, I love to hear from him. I know he is, he is a tried and true, practice, I would say, tried and true when it comes to practicing Kwanzaa in his home and sharing it with his community in Montreal. So I would just love to hear about how your Kwanzaa went this year, sir.
That's me.
Yes, that's you.
Okay. Kwanzaa was a little under the weather this year here because of the pandemic. I think that when we asked for New Year resolution, I was asking for endemic. I turned the P into an E and hoping that by the spring, we no longer will say pandemic, but we'll say endemic. It will be the end. We have had in the past great times with Kwanzaa. What my wife and I have started Kwanzaa in 1992, way back. And what we have done, we did join UNIA with the Union United Church, which is the oldest Black church in Montreal. And we split it year after year together. So one year it would have been at Union United Church, the next year it would have been at UNIA 334. This year, in fact, my wife beats the drum. She is a little shy, so she's not going to do it today. We went to Africa quite a few times, and we brought back drums, and we practiced drums, and we practiced the Kwanzaa, very much so. In fact, I have a little something I write up here. And I just wanted to say that after being in North America for such a long time, Kwanzaa remind me, I'm a Vincentian, I'm from St. Vincent the Grenadines, and Kwanzaa remind me of harvest, where as a young boy, we took the first fruit to the church. And the next day, after the service, the Sunday, the Monday, as a young man, we took the fruit from the church into the hall, and we stood there and we sold it to make money for the church. So when we talk about Kwanzaa here, it reminds me of that special event, which we call in the Caribbean, harvest. And harvest meant first fruit like Kwanzaa. People gave the first fruit to the church with pleasure. And it was something that we look forward as a young man growing up. I don't know if anyone listening have had that experience in the Caribbean, which is called harvest.
Uh-oh, we got a hand up. Sister Simone.
Yes, yes, I have, Elder. And actually in St. Vincent at Girls High School, they had a very large display that they did for harvest. I was a teacher that year, and so I got to see how important it is, how even the youngest students were involved, bringing the fruit, making an arrangement, singing, celebrating. And, you know, that is a core part of our economy in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So it was very important. And it does keep, it actually draws together the community, right? So there's a level of unity and a commitment, you know, again, to cycle again, that there will be another season of growing.
I love that. I love that, you know, Kwanzaa meaning first fruits, you know, and you know, those who subscribe to you know, to my faith, there's a responsibility to offer your first fruits to the Most High. And I think, you know, as we ground ourselves in these principles of who we are, the fact that those fruits, Elder, you said, went to the church, you know, that is a reminder that, you know, our first fruits, and it's not just what we tangibly have, but, you know, our talents, our day, you know, the first fruits of your day. There's so many different things that we can give a piece to the people. You know what? So we're being grounded, and you know, this is just this is, you know, the season. You know, people wonder about the Kwanzaa season a lot, but I mean, to hear that it correlates with this harvest season, and you know, with the Caribbean, it just shows that, you know what, we are, you know, we are operating, you know, all around the world, but there's some DNA in us that continues to respond and react like it has for centuries. And it just goes to show how powerful this melanin is, man. It's just amazing.
I just want to say, Sister Simone, you brought goose pimples on my skin, hearing that you're from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and not only that, that you've taught at not the major girls' high school, higher learning in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I just want to say, bravo, you've made me very proud this wonderful day. And I didn't believe that anyone here was really truly from St. Vincent. I thought I was sitting alone. So thank you, Brother Lee, to bring this to us, and that I get to know Sister Simone, that you're from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you're from the Girls' High School, wonderful, wonderful. And right next to the Girls' High School was the Boys' Grammar School, our two schools of higher learning. And I thank you for that. I thank you.
You asked the question, so you ask, you shall receive in this room. And you know what, you didn't have to ask the question, especially if you didn't think you was going to get a response. But that just goes to show us that, listen, there's no such thing of a dumb question, right? There's no such thing of a question that doesn't have that won't find an answer. So, you know, let's be faithful and let's be bold moving forward. So speaking of being bold, we are now going to just do a small rundown of Kwanzaa 2021, and we're just going to touch on the principles a bit. And this component of the event is going to be chaired by members of the UNIA-ACL, which stands for United Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. We're talking about a Black organization, Black-founded empowerment organization that has withstood the test of time. We are operating north of 100 years now as a global nation, as a global government, and as Garveyites, those who subscribe and believe and trust in the words of the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey and all those that sowed into his life, right? So, you know, as we appreciate everything that the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey is and will always be, we also acknowledge those teachers, those elders who spoke into his life, who introduced him to the printing press, who introduced to him to, you know, the different businesses that he's been able to expand. So we're talking about a global government. We're talking about the founders of the red, black, and green flag. We have a constitution. We have a flag. We have a national anthem. We have divisions all over the world, and we represent the Canadian contingent, and so we're going to begin this segment like we begin all of our Toronto UNIA meetings with the reading of the preamble of our Constitution. And I'm going to ask Brother Dean to read that for us now.
Greetings, good morning, brothers and sisters.
Greetings, peace and blessings.
My name is Dean Mordecai Small, and I'm now going to read the preamble of the UNIA. The Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League is a social, friendly, humanitarian, charitable, educational, institutional, constructive, and expansive society. Race first.
Race first.
It's founded by persons designed to the utmost to work for the general uplift of the Negro people of Europe. Race first.
Race first.
And the members pledge themselves to all in their power to conserve the rights of their noble race and to respect the rights of all mankind, believing always in the brotherhood of man and the fatherhood of God. The motto of the organization is one God, one aim, and one destiny. Race first.
First.
Therefore, let justice be done to all mankind, realizing that it is strong opposed to weak, confusion and discontent will never mark the path of man, but with love, faith, and charity towards all reign of peace, and plenty will be heralded to the world, and all generation of man shall be all blessed. Race first. Ashe.
Ashe. And you know, it is time for us to adopt that mentality. You know, you heard America first, right? You've heard that, right? Like that's popular, right? Like everyone says America. I mean, that's without any sort of objection or any kind of controversy, right? So when you talk about America, you're talking about a country, you're talking about a nation, you're talking about an American. That's our race, right? So when we talking about race first, we're talking about our people. We're talking about, and it's something that we have been deprived of for so long, to think of ourselves first, to think of our babies first, to think of our household first, because we have been under 400 years of servitude. All right. So we have been conditioned to not think of ourselves first. So we have to force that mentality of us first, because it's critical. And just as Donald Trump would run around and say America first, and everyone would get excited about it because they're like, you know what, you're right, us first. We got to take care of us first, right? It's the same mentality. We have to take care of ourselves first. And today, on this day of Afya, this path that we're on today, we are putting ourselves first. So now,
could I tune in a little bit on what you just said, which is very important in think of ourselves first. With your permission, I just want to say that I went through some of Garvey's quotes, and with your permission, I'd like to read one which tied in, and I didn't know what you were going to say, which is interesting. Do I have your permission that I could read one of his quotes?
Yes, absolutely, Elder.
If we as a people realize the greatness from which we came, we will be less likely to disrespect ourselves. From the Right Honorable Marcus Garvey. And it ties in with what you just said about thinking of ourselves first. We need to understand where our ancestors were kings and queens, and where they come from, and we need to honor them, get into them, understand, and it will make us the privilege of who we are and where we want to go.
Ashe. And speaking of how privileged we are, I want to show you this artwork here. I don't know. You see this artwork here? This artwork here is. Let me see if I can take this thing up. This artwork here is the work of. Let me just take this out here. Of our brother here, Ashes Green, Mr. Jay Hawkins Sr., who actually is the producer of these Kwanzaa cards. So this image here is actually on a Kwanzaa card that he has been selling. So as we go through our principles and we talk about economics, right? we're talking about this is tangible economics. This is taking our culture. And because listen, Hallmark will do it. All right. If you think Hallmark ain't coming out with the Kwanzaa cards next year, you think there's not a boardrooms full of white people right now talking about Kwanzaa is popping right now.
We got the originals.
we got the first one.
Real deals.
We got the first one, right? So it's important that we manage our culture, that we manufacture our culture, because otherwise it's going to be manufactured for us like it is right now in China, where you can buy kente cloth in China. Okay, so we have to take an aggressive approach in making sure that we manufacture our culture, and that helps us protect our culture. Right, because when you're a manufacturer, you're thinking of all the things from trademarks to copyrights, to internet domains. These are all things that belong to us, and if we don't claim it, then someone else will. So this our artist is here, and we invited him to be part of this conversation for Kwanzaa because, he took it upon himself. Not only did he make the Kwanzaa card. And you can tell us a little bit about that image. Hold the card up again and just tell us a little bit about that image. I want to take a screenshot of that. 1 second. Give me 1 second. And 3, 2. Wonderful. All right. Oh, got it. Wait. A flash? Really? Flash never comes on when I need it, bro. Like now it comes on now. All right.
Right.
Give me a smile, Kendra. Kendra's like photo ready. Like, yes, did someone say photo? Like model. Okay.
It is beautiful, Brother Green.
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Elder.
Okay, so how can people get a hold of that, first of all, if they want one, just have one signed by you? Is there any way that they can do that?
Yes. They're still available. I've still got a bunch around. I'm on social media at Revolutionary Strokes. And I believe we can leave notes in the chat.
Yes, you can. Please.
Yeah, so I'll spell it out in the chat and leave a note. But that's on Instagram and Facebook. I have a link that you can click in, and you can order however many cards you want. They're $7 a piece. You can do sets of 4, or you can do just the one. But you can type in your you can pay for them right there online. You can set them up to be delivered to you, or I can come or you could pick them up as well.
And actually, I just remembered that we have a link that has everyone's Instagrams attached to it. So I just put it in the chat. If you go to Linktree/Day of Afya, all the presenters and facilitators have links there, so you can find his information there. But please feel free to also post your details there. So what was it that that inspired you to merge that Sankofa with the Kinara? Like, what was that about?
Okay, so honestly, like you said earlier, it's about I love what you said about making sure that we are in ownership of our images. And I seen a card out and about before the holiday season hit, and it was actually a Hanukkah card, and it had a bird that looked very similar. It had like African kind of looking prints in them, and it had their candles inside the bird. So I've seen it and instantly thought of our bird. I thought of the Sankofa bird, and then I thought Kwanzaa was coming up, so I deliberately made my own version, which was represented us, and it's been nothing but blessings since creating that version. And
it's big.
So it really just came from that same principle ideology that you were speaking about earlier, Brother Lee, is just making sure that we in ownership of our images.
No doubt. And next time I come get a haircut from you, I want you to put that in the back of my head. I don't know if you can do that. But I want
that's a nice challenge. I'm around for that.
The whole joint, bro. Listen, so brothers, just so you know, Brother Jay Hawkins Sr., aka Cassius Green, he's been drawing for a very long time. I'm reading his incredible bio. He's challenged his creative energies into barbering, clothing design. He's a MC, a rapper, an event coordinator in Buffalo's hip hop scene. This brother here has created massive murals in the city of Buffalo, murals that will tell our stories for generations to come. I mean, it's one of the coolest moments I've ever seen him and his family next to the last one. What was the last one you produced?
On the Dope Street mural.
Street mural, yeah. What was that? What was that? Jesus Saves?
Oh, they're both on Dope Street.
Right, they're both on Dope Street.
The last one, yeah, you referred me for a job with Brother Stephen Kulu of the Buffalo New Ministries Church, I believe. I rock with Brother Kulu. I like his movement. I seen some of his his congregation, and he was catering to young people and elder people. But he Brother Lee dropped my information because he was looking for an artist, and it all worked out. I was able to put a graffiti style Jesus Saves mural on the side of his church, and then about a month afterwards, I got a job to do another mural down the street on Dope Street, and that was through with a city council member, and we did it. It was it just includes the whole community. It's a lot of different backgrounds, different races in that community, in the Bailey community in the east side of Buffalo. And it was just good for us to have some murals on the east side of Buffalo, because we don't get a lot of artwork. Our people don't get to see a lot of beauty and things to take care of. We see a lot of, rundown areas that have garbage and everywhere. And we cleaned up the garbage to even start the mural. So, those were definitely moments I'm grateful for as an artist this year. To share something like that with my community and for my community.
No doubt, it was massive. So what we're going to do is we're going to just cover the 7 principles before we turn it over to our chief coach, Brother Kofi Morris, who's going to help us get settled in for this incredible day of Afya, this day of health, this pathway that we're going to be applying these principles. So, so we're going to start off with, of course, everyone knows the first day. And if we can say it together, Umoja.
Umoja.
Which means?
Unity.
Unity.
Principle number 1.
Principle number 1. And you know what? I think it's very important that as we get into these principles, that we we never forget the source. And I just want to read this, as we unify around Kwanzaa and around these principles and this pathway to a greater health. I just want to read a quote from the founder of Kwanzaa, Dr. Karenga, and he says, Kwanzaa came into being courageously, questioning the established order of things and pursuing ways to affirm, celebrate, and sustain ourselves, our history, our culture, our identity, our dignity, and right to freedom as a people. It came into being into the midst of the Black freedom movement as an act of self-determination and as a self-conscious contribution to a conversation about reconnecting and reconceiving the world from an African-centered perspective and to struggle to radically transform society. And that's exactly what I think is being achieved. But we have to continue to push the envelope, and that is what a day of Afya is. So, like when I posted Habari Ghani, right? So when I say Habari Ghani, yes. And then that means what's the news? And right. Then what we've been doing, yes, we've been using Umoja. There you go. Thank you. So Umoja, Habari Ghani. And so when I made a post and I put Habari Ghani, and then I put the response as well, and I said Afya, Habari Ghani, it blew my mind because I've never seen anything like that, because we only thought the news was these 7 principles, right? But it's language that we can incorporate into our lifestyle, right? And that we can interject anything we want into these as a pathway for our people. And so what Brother Cassius is holding up is an illustration that he made representing the symbol. And he drew that and he used creativity, he uses Kumba, right? Because he uses Kumba because what he did was he put them up and he offered it as a raffle. And it was $10 for a raffle ticket. And he was pulling raffle tickets, right? And you could win one of these, beautiful hand-created beautiful symbols, right? And so we wanted to make those available. Again, he said he still has some prints. Good morning. He said he still has some prints available. So we're going to try to find a way to, welcome you to get some of those. I don't know if we want to do a raffle. So what I want to do is, and because we're from different countries, we have different ways of doing business. But before the end of this day, we do want to have a raffle. And I want someone to get all 7. Okay. And so I know all 7 would essentially cost, because he was offering $10 a joint, right? So it'd be about $70, right? Would that be would that be like how the raffle would have worked?
Yeah.
Like if they won one, okay. So I'm just saying, I'm just trying to figure out where we got, because you gotta do good. You can't take no losses on this one, right? So what I'm saying is we're gonna find a way to, for everyone in this chat to be able to participate in this contest, if you want, and we're gonna do the same kind of raffle deal they did, and somebody in this chat, who you gotta be in it to win it. So somebody who's to get in it, someone is going to leave with all 7 prints. Okay.
All 7. We can ship them. We can ship them to you.
So if you in Canada and you want to participate, and I'm gonna ask Sister Suzette, who's been so helpful, my love, who's been putting information in the chat. If you could put in the e-transfer, so e-transfer if you're in Canada, and that's DeWittLeeTO@gmail.com. So DeWittLeeTO@gmail.com is the Instagram. Is the e-transfer. And if you're in Buffalo, the Cash App is $. I'll type this one in. Is $ by Black Western New York. Or I'm doing it, don't worry. DeWittLeeTO@gmail.com. So that is for the raffle. So if anybody wants to get in the raffle, it's $10 and somebody's going to win. And guess what? If nobody participates, I just got me 7 joints. I ain't got no problem with that. I ain't got no problem with that. And Cash, I love to buy your art and give it away.
7 joints. They gonna come with paint brushes and paints and all of that.
Come on, man. It's best deal in town. So there you go. So that's what we're doing. So basically we know unity. We strive and maintain unity in the family, the community, the nation, and the race. A Kenyan proverb is sticks in a bundle are unbreakable. And if I'm going to quote the words of the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, he says, "You at this time can only be destroyed by yourselves." This is the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey speaking. "You at this time can only be destroyed by yourself from within and not from without. You have reached a point where the victory is to be won from within and can only be lost from within." So it's up to us. It's up to us. The next is Kuji Jakalia, self-determination. And this principle refers to defining, naming, creating, and speaking for oneself. And I'm going to quote the Honorable Marcus Messiah. Oh, yeah. So, Habari Gani,
Kuji Chagalia.
Yeah. Oh, you said it like you said it like you from Swahili.
I got the pronunciations on the back of them, too.
Wow. Say it again for us, brother.
Kuji Chagalia.
Wow, man. Kuji. Say it again one more time.
Kuji Chagulia.
Chagulia. Try that out. That's a good. That's powerful. All right.
Pronunciations is on the back of them. If whoever takes these
home. Let me see the back. Can we see the back?
It's written in pencil, so you probably can't see it.
All right, no problem. So it says here. I'm going to quote the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey as well, and he says, "Let us, with each one, determine, create in our minds today." What day?
Kuji Chagalia.
This day, right now, every day. The conditions of the next 50 years. So when our chief, Coach Kofi, was taking us through, asking us what we wanted, right? Like, what do we want to get out of this, right? Like that requires a determination in your mind that this is what we want. Like, if you don't have a map, you're not going to get there. And speaking what you want is your map, because these are your goals that you want to reach. So the next one is Ujama. So Habani Gani.
Ujima.
Yeah, my bad. Ujima. Thank you, brother. All right, I'll do it again. Habani Gani.
Ujima.
Right, translated as collective work and responsibility. Ujima refers to uplifting your community. Right? And so this is collective work and responsibility. And this is what we talked about in the very beginning. We not only do we want to get information for ourselves, but we want to do it for our community around us. And I want us to take a look at these principles and apply it to our health journey, this health path that we are on, Afya path that we are on, because essentially this is how we gauge all the things that we're doing. We hold it against this 7 pillars, the standard of these 7 pillars, these 7 principles, and ask ourselves, what are we doing collectively to make sure that our elders, that they have the support they need, that they are getting the care that they need, that they're getting the food that they need. There are basic issues and basic things that we have to ensure that our community has in order for us to be respected as a community. And if we're not taking care of our babies and we're not taking care of our elders, right, then that's judgment on us, on where our priorities are. So collective work and responsibility, I am challenging us to look at the life of our elders and say, look, if we right now take time, and the Honorable Marcus McGarvey said 50 years. Why 50 years? Because guess what? In 50 years, we're going to be where they are. And if we don't do any, God willing, we'll be there. And if we don't do, and thank you, Brother Cassius, and if we don't, in fact, do anything to make sure that the elders, have protection and support and resources, then 50 years from now, when we get there won't be anything for us. You see how planting a seed grows a tree, and you get to lay in your own shade. Sometimes they say we lay in the shade of people who planted trees, and it's true, and that's why we give honor to our ancestors and our elders. But guess what? We can also benefit from some of that shade too, right? So let's Ujima, and in this day of Afya, let's think about what kind of collective work and responsibility can we take to taking care of our elders. And the UNIA has an auxiliary called the Black Cross Nurses, and they, in fact, that is one of the chief responsibilities. And so, as the president of the Toronto UNIA, as we look towards our path of 2022, it is important for us to make sure that our elders are taken care of. And I think that would be one critical place where the Black Cross Nurses, and that's not gender specific, all right? So let's get that out of our minds, right? We're not talking about something of just our queens, right? We're talking about all those who in fact feel that responsibility to take care of one another. So the next one is, now it's Ujama. So Habari Gani,
Ujama.
Ujama. Thank you, sis. See, I mean, but that's why we have to have grace and peace with each other, because you know what? We still trying to figure this out. Right, we still trying to emancipate our tongue, right? So, and Sister Simone, who is, a beloved member of the organization, she has rocked with me for as long as I've stuck my neck out into the public, and and just did whatever God told me to do, and I'm so honored and grateful for her. She is an incredible, a well of information and knowledge and inspiration. And she's an incredible businesswoman. She's all about us building economics in our community. So, Sister Simone, did you want to just touch on that one a little bit?
Sure. Okay. So Ujama is cooperative economics. And I think this is why we're all here today. Because if we didn't have these wonderful businesses, people in our community who have the resources, have built the knowledge, the skill set to be able to deliver today, we won't have a day of Afya, right? So I just want to say thank you, Duao, and that's a Kemetic way of saying thank you as well to all of you. So yes, Ujama, cooperative economics, according to the Kwanzaa principle, it is to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. So that one, as we are getting our tongues around the words of an ancient, or not really an ancient, it's actually a kind of modern ancient language, Swahili. It is also something that has led me to reflect this season of Kwanzaa, of these principles and how we actually bring them into the practical in our community. To build and maintain our own stores would suggest that we are going there and there's patronage, right? And to profit from them, it means that we're spending there. So we're choosing where to spend our dollars. And the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey told us and admonished us to spend within our own community, to take our dollars and spend our money there. So that was something that he did. But he also spoke on economy from an individual perspective in terms of our economic fitness. And so cooperative economics, when you really break it down, it really starts with the individual and how we see money. And I heard our president say that from these 7 principles, there will be spin-offs where we have to learn or relearn how to be financially fit, how to relate to one another along economical lines. Because as we can see, even though this celebration that was, brought to, put together by our elder, Mulana Karenga, so many years ago, we're still grappling with these questions. And we're at the point now where we have the linkages diasporically, but our minds are not yet there. And it's because our minds are full of something that doesn't serve us. So there's a deconditioning, I would suggest, that needs to happen. And I would suggest that because of what we have been reading for the past several months, which was from 100 years ago, where the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey told us, and we know that famous song, from Bob Marley. What does it say? Emancipate yourself from what? Mental slavery. But then it went on to say, none but ourselves can free our mind. So when it comes to cooperative economics, there's a lot of great strides that have been done by our own people. There's a lot of wonderful businesses. We have great human resources. We have all the expertise we need within our own community, whether it be here, where I am in Canada, where you are in the United States, in the Caribbean, in South America, or even in our mama land. We have absolutely everything we need. But the key to unlock the connection and the success is up here in our mind. Because all it takes is the choice, the personal choice to say, I'm in and I'm going to contribute. I'm going to receive, I'm going to give, and it's going to be across the diaspora. It's not going to necessarily be outside, right? So these are some of the things that we have to break. It's almost like chains. We have to break certain things, and then we have to reconnect ourselves the right way. So cooperative economics, it's a big one because it kind of spirals out into other areas. And just a little plug, if you look behind me, you'll see that there's a poster there. And again, Sankofa, it's going all the way back into our history, into antiquity, to a place where we were the ones that actually showed the way towards cooperative economics. If we go that far back, we're going to know what to do. But it's a long journey. So my encouragement is get ready for the pilgrimage, because each of us will have to make it. Thanks.
Whoa.
Hey, Ashe.
Thank God that was recorded. That's going to be played for generations to come. There was a word you used, equity. What was it? No, it wasn't equity. It was, come on, you know, huh?
Antiquity?
Antiquity. Yes. What does that mean?
Antiquity is going back, in other words, going back to a time in the diaspora where we truly moved as one. So going back far enough, when we say Sankofa, I'm saying go back far enough to find when we had unity and find when we had a cooperative economics.
Go back
and then to use whatever was done at that time to now reconfigure ourselves.
That's what we're doing. And you know what? This is why I asked the question, because I wasn't sure. And I could have Googled it, but I didn't know how to spell it. But no,
yeah, it just means old times.
No, but
the word is antique.
Right.
Well, I heard that, right? But and that's it brings a great point. Queen, greetings, Queen. Chantel, thank you for joining.
Hello. Hello.
No, what I was saying was, it's very important that when you say go back and fetch, that we know how far we're going back, right? Because if you don't go back far enough, then you fell short on going back, right? So I think it's very important that we do establish timelines when we say go back and fetch it, because we're being honest with ourselves about going back and fetch it. And we're setting these timelines on how far we must go back. All right, Ashe. So now we're moving forward to Nia. Nia so Abanigani?
Abarigani, Nia.
Nia.
All right, which means purpose, right? And Dr. Krang expands on this principle to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people in their traditional greatness. And here we are talking about that word about going back. And when you say what's the timeline? Well, the timeline is our traditional greatness. When it was just tradition to be great. How many households today, kids wake up and it's a tradition to be great? It's a tradition. It's a family tradition to be productive. It is what we do, right? That is how we roll. That's what makes you a bank. So that's what makes you a what is the word? Cosby, the hub. Yeah, that's what makes you exactly, right? That's what, you woke up, right? You woke up every morning like, this is what I do, because it's in your environment. So this is what this purpose, and our brother Kofi took us there in the beginning of our libation, where we set that purpose forward and we put that out there. And you know what? Every morning we're supposed to establish our NIA. Every morning we're supposed to be saying, what is our purpose? And what is the plan? And before this came together, there was a purpose. And the purpose was, how do we apply our 7 principles of Kwanzaa towards to an area, to a pathway? And this pathway is health, Afya, right? And so the purpose was to be able to draw in all this Kwanzaa energy, these 7 mighty principles, and say, now let's apply it towards something collective, where we can move as a unit. So this is where we are. And as we continue to quote the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, he identifies the power of NIA, the power of purpose. And everyone who is on the internet right now, they're talking about purpose, right? Like purpose, like people are looking for their purpose, and they will claim it. If they find anything, they will claim it, right? And so it's important that when they go back and fetch certain things, that they're going back to get facts and truths. And our history has so much rich sources that we want to make sure that people are getting the sources of all this information. So the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey says the power of NIA, of having a purpose and a vision for our future. Garvey realized that African people will never secure our freedom by relying on chance or happenstance. We cannot be content to rely on hope, prayers, or faith alone, right? And it says, right, faith without works is dead. It's dead, right? We must be purposeful and take concrete, proactive steps in order to bring our permanent change to the condition of our community. And as we start 2022, health is an important area for us because if we're not healthy, we can't go out and do the things that we want to do. And I want to acknowledge the go-getter herself, AGV, who tapped in. I don't know if that's Def Jam Studios, or I don't know where she at right now. She could be anywhere right now in the world. You are on mute, Queen. You are on mute, so everyone has to emancipate their own voice here. But thank you for coming. And as we just talk about our purpose of getting fit, and we look forward to talking to you. So she's part of our next segment. And as we just wrap up Kwanzaa, and then Brother Kofi is going to just take us into a state of understanding and overstanding of where we're going, how we're going to spend our day. He's going to show us how to tap into, those special secret places in our hearts and our souls and spirits, so that we can be grounded and ready to, get this stuff. But she had a purpose. She had a NIA, right? And I can't wait to hear her purpose, her NIA. So next up, we're going to hit Kumba, as we talked about creativity. Brother Cassius Green is showing up, hit the image of Kumba. So Habanigani Kumba, that's right. So Dr. Kranger defines this principle as to do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. And Right now, you see our community is broader than the 716, it's broader than the 416. So it's important for us to think broader and think Black without borders, right? Like it's critical.
Black without borders.
It's critical. It's critical because here we are right now in a digital space, you know, and it's minds from all over the world here who are tapped in, and the amount of experience and wealth of knowledge that's on this call alone. I mean, what can't we do? I mean, there's nothing that I'm looking at these blocks here of people and your spaces and your spheres of influence. There is nothing that we can do if we don't decide to do it, but we have to be creative. And you know, and I think it's very important that we understand that how it connects. And there's so many creative people here. But you know, when I posted about creativity, I talked about the creativity of building the pyramids. Right. I talked about the creativity of us being able to navigate the Underground Railroad and to create that and to create songs and to create quilts to communicate. Right. So creativity is important for survival. Right. The way we braided our hair and we stuck seeds in our hair. That's creativity. Right. So like we got to tap into that ancient creativity that was for survival. Right now, we are creating to stimulate people's imaginations. And that's fun and to entertain. And that's cool. Right. That's cool. And to lead and hopefully educate with that platform. But we got to understand that it was our creativity that allowed us to survive. Right. It was our creativity that was able to help others survive. Right. So it's very, 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 very important that we don't limit our creativity to just, you know, arts. But we remember how creative we were in our inventions and what we did with the peanut, make peanut butter. Right. Like how we created, you know, cotton gins, and like we looked at situation and we created things that transformed industries. Right. And so we don't want to limit our creativity to just, you know, a poem or a song. Like think about how far that song, look, these images that Brother Cassius Green, that creativity, there's no limit to where that creativity could take you. You should have 7 cards next year, right? People should buy a 7-card pack, right?
Come on.
Straight up, like there's no one Kwanzaa card no more. Okay, cut it out. Okay, now it's a pack. All right, you buy the whole pack. All right, you do what you want with it. You buy the whole pack. So what I'm saying is, our creativity, we cannot cap our creativity. We cannot allow our creativity to be and when we get into these environments, is what stimulates our creativity. So, and the thing is, but you have to have a safe space to be creative, right? Because people are guarded with their ideas, they're guarded with their visions. And you know, and they're threatened by other people who may have access to what God has deposited in them. So it's important for us to create a safe space where we can talk our creativity. And we can talk about you know, how do we grow all that we do, you know. And Sister Simone, I'm going to add all your links, and if you can add into the chat, please, because the creativity that your organization has done with Sim Honey is just absolutely remarkable. This sister has taken all these sort of elements that make business successful, whether it's you know, rewards, whether it's cash back, all these things that we're used to hearing on the TV that hits us all in the head all day long, cash backs, air miles, and all these different things. What she's been able to do is build a digital platform to help businesses, Black businesses, it's small, you know, business, small, medium businesses, primarily our businesses, right? Like she's focused on us, but it's for all. But at the end of the day, she has brought those institutions that we have come so familiar with to small and medium sized businesses, right? So that they can offer their customers cash back, so that when people shop among her vendors and among those who subscribe to her service, that money can go to certain charities. So please put your links in there, because what you're doing is revolutionary, and it's just a matter of time before markets all over. And you know, and Sister Chantel, Sister Simone, I'd like for y'all to actually exchange information. Sister Chantel, who will be moderating one of our upcoming segments, you know, is the Queen Bee of that brown bag. She's a big reason why we're all here today. You know, when I hit her with an idea, you know, something that I've been commissioned to do, you know, I really like gauge her input. Like if she's like, if I get one of these, if I get a little red, black, and green heart, I'm like, all right, we off, right? The sooner I get it, the more confident I am of it. But So she's the reason, certainly why. And she tagged a few people, and those few people led to a full day, really, of me seeking out, these people with experience and experts who can help contribute to this day of Afya. So, but I would like for y'all to use this opportunity to definitely connect. So moving on, we're almost at the end, and then we are going to turn ourselves over to widen our perspective and our consciousness. I cannot wait. This is like big time on what we're gonna do. But last and not least, we're going to address Imani. So Abani Ghani, what's the word?
Abari Ghani.
Imani, faith. Dr. Kranger defines this as faith in community, writing to believe with all our hearts in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, in the righteousness and victory of our struggle. So we talked about creating a safe space. We have to have faith in each other that this is a safe space. Like, and this is what I'm saying. By every meeting that we have, if we could draw from these 7 principles and say, all right, well, this is the standard. Listen, every corporate meeting has Robert's rules, okay? And that's what's governed by this meeting, and people subscribe to that, right? But these are Karanga rules, you know what I'm saying, to how we move forward, how this meeting is going to be conducted, right? So how this meeting is going to be conducted is going to be faith. We're going to subscribe to faith. We're going to be as creative as possible, and all these different things. So I know Elder Weeks from Montreal, I know you asked to be able to elaborate and speak on behalf of Imani. Would you like to share anything with us, sir?
Well, I think Sister Simone has covered almost everything, but I did put a bit together. I said we have to firmly believe with all our hearts in the righteousness of our struggle for the successful advancement of our people by remembering and recognizing, striving for unity in the nation, being able to speak for ourselves, working responsibly together, building and maintaining our own businesses, Sister Simone, restoring our people to their traditional greatness, leaving our earth more beautiful than how we found it. And when we looked at all of that put the 7 principles together, we've got the last, which is faith. And faith is it's first to believe in ourselves, to believe that, yes, we can do it. We have looked at our ancestors. They've been successful in their own way. They've paved the way for us. And we have to have faith in ourselves to move forward, to leave it for our children and grandchildren. We just cannot sit back and say, well, we can't do it. Faith is important. It's very, very important. And that is why at the beginning, I picked the piece from our Honorable Marcus Garvey when he said, if we as a people realize the greatness from which we came, and that's the key, we were kings and queens, the greatness from which we came, we will be less likely to not have faith, to believe in ourselves, to be there, to do things, to be creative, like our brother Green. I mean, I'm sitting here and it's amazing what you've put together. I know we said we are going to raffle, and I'm not sure if I send my money if I'm going to win it. So maybe I should just send my $70 and get the 7 of them and no raffle.
I think we'll do that. I think that's a great idea.
I mean, I'm not sure if I'm going to win it, and I'd like to.
No, that's right.
We talk about spreading and developing, and it would be nice for me to be able to show our young people here those 7 principles.
I would be honored for you to have these.
Because I do believe our young people are missing a lot. And
no, and the fact that they'll be able to relate to the artist, and the artist is available to talk to him on Zoom, and that's where the creativity must continue, right? Like, yes, he can send you a 7, but then what's the plan after that? That's just a seed, right? The seed is those 7 images are just a seed, but what is going to manifest from that, right? Like, we need to create a curriculum so that you can tap in. And that you can explain to people the artist project and the concept, and and teach other artists on how to be able to do what you've done. So, you know what, the creativity doesn't end, and we have to keep rolling. So, faith is critical. And with the UNIA, faith is also a very challenging place for us because it divides, right? It divides households, right?
This has been a positive.
It divides households, it divides communities, but which makes the UNIA so powerful is that for the last 100 years, as the UNIA has grown, the motto, one God, one aim, one destiny, right? One God, one aim, one destiny. That is the 7 principles in a motto. That's our motto, right? And so what that does is that leaves room for people to express themselves, to be themselves, and respect those who have an opinion, right? Like, because I may subscribe to a certain faith, and I share that with you, that's not me opposing, that's just me being my truth. Like, my truth is my truth, and it shouldn't, so as we create room for dialogue, trust me, it has come up, but we always, because we subscribe to one God, one aim, one destiny, there's always room for interpretation, and for people's faith. But faith is critical, and right now we are believing in that these 7 principles applied to any situation, we will be able to overcome it. And so I'm just grateful that we were able to touch on them. And we're going to close, like we close all Kwanzaa events, with a Harambe. And next year now, and I'm gonna send. Oh, listen, Sister Chantel is showing us she's
right.
doing the air stewardess, like when they say, all right, so this is how you do it. When it comes down, you put it up. She's giving you the, like, you know what I mean? She's giving us a tutorial, y'all. All right, so Sister Chantel, how does the Harambe work?
Hang on. Can you mute yours? I'm sitting next to Brother Cassius, so
No doubt.
when I off mute, I don't want to get the.
Okay. All right, I had to switch over. So when we get ready to close out, hands up.
Okay, hands up. All right.
All 5 fingers spread apart. And as you bring them down, you bring your hands together with a resounding Harambe Kwanzaa. So bring your hands up.
Up.
All 5 fingers spread apart. And as you bring them down close to your heart, you bring those fingers together in unity. Harambe Kwanzaa.
All right. And we do it 7 times.
1 for each principle.
And the last one, we hold it. And we scream, right?
If you're not going to wake up your babies.
All right.
My kids are still asleep.
All right. We're taking we're following your lead, Queen.
All right. So on the first one, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Harambe.
Hey.
Back up. 1, 2, 3. Harambe.
Harambe.
Back up. 1, 2, 3. Harambe.
That's 3.
1, 2, 3. Harambe.
4.
Yep. 1, 2, 3. Harambe. Right back up. 1, 2, 3. Harambe.
6.
1, 2, 3. Harambe.
Ashe. And so I don't know what day next year. Thank you, Queen. We appreciate that. I don't know what next year we're going to do it, but this morning I felt it on my spirit that next Kwanzaa, I want to have the world's largest Harambe call out on Zoom. I mean, can we get to 10,000 people on a Zoom doing a Harambe? I don't know what day we're going to do it. I don't know if we're going to close out Kwanzaa. I don't know if it's going to be at this event. Maybe we'll kick off Afya next year with the world's largest Harambe on Zoom. But I think that'll be really, really cool. And to have faces of Africa and people all over the world, pulling down. And as we pull together, let that be the theme as we move forward. So what I'd like to do now is I want to just thank everyone for participating in that component. I'm going to now stop recording and